think we're good.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome everybody to week 14. This is final demo calls for Mozilla Open Leaders. For those of you just joining us on the live stream, we want to welcome you to Mozilla Open Leaders. And the vision for this program is to strengthen open projects and communities all around the world. I'm Jason Hepler, I'm the call host, joining Abby here to help host this call. Before we get started, I do want to remind everybody that we do adhere to community participation guidelines. What that means is we need to be respectful, honest, inclusive, accommodating, appreciative, and open to learning from everyone else. And we do not attack, disrupt, harass, or threaten others, or encourage such behavior. And as always, if any of that's happening or you need to raise any issues around that, feel free to contact Achintia, Abby, or myself. And our contact information is at the top of these collaborative notes. If you have not signed in yet, there's a roll call at the top of this document. And if you haven't answered the opening question yet, which is, if you woke up one morning as a flower, what flower would you be? There's a few answers there.
No one's put in corpse flower yet.
Yeah, come on, corpse flower. Morning glory, that's a good one. I do want to also highlight, we have a section in the notes here for Friends of Mozilla. So if you have any new contributors to your project, or anybody you want to thank or just give a shout out to, there's a section here for you to do that. I can sort of pause for a moment to let folks reflect on that before we move on. And project presenters, if you haven't signed in yet, do so please underneath the project presentation section. We'll just be going in order for these.
Who's the one that wrote all the new contributors we met in the last 10 days? Oh, Marie, what happened in the last 10 days that you met so many new contributors?
Yeah, we had 2 meetups. We organized 2 meetups, and it went really well, above expectations. And we had
awesome.
A whole bunch of new contributors in our app repository. Yeah.
Yay! You did 2 meetups within 10 days?
Yes. Yeah, that was it was a lot, but it went really well.
It paid off. So that's awesome. Cool.
All right. Well, typing slowed down, so I think we'll start moving into project demos. And of course, if you're just joining us, feel free to sign in to the roll call at the top of the document. I guess I should remind everybody this is being live streamed, so anything you say is public. So just bear that in mind as well. All right, so we're going to get started. And the first project up, just to remind everybody, you have about 2 minutes per project to talk. Our first project up is the Open Body Database with Elizabeth and Louise.
Okay, hello. Can I start then?
Yes.
All right. Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and this is Louise from GenCloth and the Open Body Database. Project GenCloth is a 3D toolkit for economic and sustainable development within the textile and garment industry. And we've created this toolkit to enable designers and local designers and independents and SMEs to improve and transition the garment industry from mass production to mass customization and product service systems. Currently, fashion is the second most polluting industry globally, much of which is caused by overconsumption, disposable fashion, and pretty bad processes in the production line, as well as workers' issues. So we want this transition to promote healthy changes throughout the entire value chain of the industry. And it begins with a circular design process that starts with a body scan. However, we don't want anyone to be left out by not having certain technologies. So we began the Open Body Database as a solution for students, designers, and researchers and SMEs to utilize real human body data in regards to their designs. So currently there are no open body data repositories, and sharing human body data can get quite complex due to privacy ethics and GDPR as compliance, as we are located in the EU. Our main goal is to create an open body database where anyone can access real human body data globally, a database that is inclusive of all body types, races, and genders, and that protects contributors' privacy and remains an open resource, organized and accessible for all. And of course, a continuous system for updating and protecting the integrity of the data and contributors. We've grown quite a bit during our time with Mozilla and are currently working on appropriate schemas for our data. You can find our landing page at obdb.org. We are also finalizing, with legal help, how to ensure contributors' rights to their body data is compliant with GDPR if we are not the only data collectors involved, which is kind of a sticky point right now. And we want to make sure that we're clear on that. We run the bodies through an anonymization process. However, we still continue to research and discuss possible privacy issues, and have also spent a large amount of time on ethics and complete transparency in regards to consent and documentation. And our main priority has been learning about inclusivity and transparency via communication during our time with the Mozilla Open Leaders Program, which we're very grateful for. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions they want to voice? There's also a section in the notes here for adding in your own comments or questions.
I can vocalize what I wrote down.
Yeah.
I do care a lot about this data. I have a background in bioinformatics, so super excited that you're working on this and thinking through like all the implications of this data. So thanks for this work. And I put in a link to OpenSNP. Actually, one of the mentors this round, he started OpenSNP, Bastian. That's focused more just on genetic data.
Yeah.
So have you talked to them?
Not yet.
We've been trading emails.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trading Slack messages. Achintia suggested that, and our mentor Achintia for all the support. So yeah, there's a few people we need to reach out to.
Yeah,
a few more things that will continue on into 2019, I think. From
That's awesome. Someone's typing something. They're probably looking up a link.
You might like.
But
Yeah, it's very suspenseful.
I know. What might you like?
No pressure, whoever's typing.
But I'm glad that, Achintia knows Bastian well, so that makes sense.
Oh my God. Great.
Maybe we should come back to
Yeah,
this.
we can come back.
It's okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you, that was great. So we'll move on to the next project on the list here, which is Squarelet.org with Markus, Maximilian, and Edgar.
Hello. So, shall we start? Yeah, great. So if you can hear this, I think we prepared a small presentation, which I hope it will be able to display. There we are. Second. Yeah, so we were working with an open education resources community, lots of teachers and educators, and we found out that cooperation is still like a big topic in class, although there are really tools missing to empower cooperation and to also help students find their individual path. So one example for a typical learner, oh no, it's not displaying. So we have, for example, Samira, she's like 13 years old, quite student, still learning the language, just arrived, and likes computers. But in the traditional top-down setting, a lot gets lost and there's not much chance to really see it. So we're building a tool where actually people can work together in like an online canvas, write new squares, create some connections, and work together in groups. One example we think could work, for example, a starting question: how does the internet work? The students add some pictures, some videos, some audio, type in some examples, some pro-contra, discuss it, and suddenly also very quiet students can contribute something and also review the stuff later and find some translations and some additional material. So it works by giving them an individual path through the learning material, but also empowering cooperation with groups, and they can simultaneously see what's going on. There should be some interaction, some comments, and yeah, it's like an online pinboard. We want to build in multiple content types and also some offline editing, and that there will be some live synchronization. We are currently working on this live synchronization. It's already working out, and until the end of the year, we are presenting a prototype. We're looking for contributors who want to code, who want to develop concepts, who want to give feedback, find issues, and yeah, we have like ambitious next plans to really like empower a new culture of learning which focus around cooperation, self-direction, so that people can make the experience that they have something to say and be and contribute something early on. Yeah, if you want to contribute something, please feel free to visit our GitHub repository, drop us a mail, test the tool on squarelet.org, write some issues down, and I think we're running already out of time. So thank you already from all the Squarelet team.
Very nice, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments they want to voice?
Getting a lot of love in the comments section.
Yep.
If people want to test this in their school,
so they can test it on already. It works currently on their own desktop on squarelet.org. Until the end of the year, we will have some this function that people can work together live as well. But at the moment, it works on individuals' computers. So, but we're already happy about testers.
Yeah, and right now you don't really need internet connection. It's everything saved in the browser, and all the content is in your browser, and you can share, upload it, or yeah, what the content that you created too.
That's awesome. That's really nice.
And thanks for the support and regular pacing through the Mozilla Open Leaders program, by the way. You reminded us what we should do.
Cool. Thanks. And if people test it, they can let you know on GitHub what they thought?
Yes, or by mail.
Or by mail, or by Twitter, GitHub, everything works, yeah.
Perfect. I think you have some testers in the comments, so.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you. Okay. Next on our list is Build Fosh Following Demand with Andre.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Andre, and I'm also, together with this project, I'm also right now doing a fellowship with Mozilla. And so this project is all about building free and open science hardware following demand, right? And the idea is pretty simple. So I want to do, in this first stage, an online survey so that we can learn from people who are involved with science, be them researchers or citizen scientists or people who are just curious about science, what kind of hardware tools or what kind of scientific equipment they miss to be able to do the experiments that they want, right? You can have all the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the proper tools, you're not able to go far in science. And therefore, I would like to learn and map what these needs are, right? And by knowing this, by having such an open map with the demands, we can basically, this is, well, what I hope to be the first step towards engaging communities and people who are already developing hardware so that we can develop tools based on this demand so that the development will have like the maximum effect it can have, that will have like a big user base, right? And then if all of these tools are open source, then we have all of the benefits that we know from open source in hardware as well. So basically you have things that are customizable, adapted to local needs, and still pretty much testable because all of the blueprints are there. The project right now already has a landing page, which I shared on the document. And we're finishing like the last details on the landing page. And I just got this week approval from the ethics committee at the university where I'm working so that we can actually launch the survey. So I hope that within the next days or so, we have everything ready to launch. I think this is pretty much it from the project. I don't know how much time I took, but I would like just to finish by saying thank you very much for the Open Leaders program. It really helped a lot with the pacing and keep things in check. Thanks a lot to Elizabeth, who was my mentor during the project, who was like really supportive and really gave a lot of good ideas. And yeah, and thanks to all the contributors that already showed up. And I think they're a direct consequence of the Open Leaders project because I had to set up all of the GitHub repositories and everything in a way that I've never done before. And I think this really helped. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Andre. There is a question here for you. What's the difference between Fosh and Gosh?
So Gosh is a community, actually. It's the gathering for open science hardware. So Fosh are the things that Gosh people are doing, basically, in a way, like very shortly described. So Gosh is a really interesting network of networks where you have a lot of people from all around the world who are dealing with these problems with open science hardware, right? And they also come from academia, non-academia, private sector, public sector, and they're all coming together to try to make open source hardware the default by 2025, I think. Yeah. So that's the difference.
So what does it stand for free and open science hardware? What does FOSH stand for? Okay.
Yeah, so FOSH is basically free and open science, free and open source hardware.
Got it.
And then if you would spell it with 2 S, then it would be open source science hardware, right? Yeah.
Very cool. Anybody have questions or comments they want to voice?
So just one comment. Somebody asked about Odin or Odin. I don't know how you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I mean, somebody had showed me this link, I think years ago, and I completely forgot about it. But it's definitely a good idea to contact them again because they're also are selling scientific equipment. So yeah, it's a good point. Thank you, whoever you are.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Assembly, an African Citizens History Project with Okari.
Hi, guys. So hi, my name is Okari, and so with me is Amandla. She's one of the people I'm working on this project with. She was not part of the Mozilla Open Leaders program because she was working on something else, but she was able to join us for this last pitch. So Mozilla is Assembly is an open platform for African history. So we're living in an interesting time. I mean, when everybody is questioning what's normal and what has been passed around as standard. And currently on the continent, mostly among Africans and Black people, is reclaiming their identity and their beauty, right? And part of that involves, going back and looking at what we've been told as our history or as our narrative. And the outcome is we discovering all these things that were not either shared, surfaced, or availed, or were technically distorted, to benefit whoever was in power or certain interest at that moment. So Assembly, or the African Citizen History Project, aims to contribute to these efforts being done by Africans, especially in the 21st century, by sort of, providing a platform where all these discussions and forums happening in different platforms and different corners of the internet can come together into one platform. So far, we have been able to have a team. We have 3 other guys who are not with us, and we now have we've been able to set up our hosting. We've chosen a tech stack, and we more like working towards building the platform currently. And so that's where the next section comes in. At the moment, our focus is mostly on getting more developers on board to help us with figuring out the initial, minimum viable product. Yeah. That's it, I think. I'd like to thank Mozilla, especially for this program, because it has really helped us, flesh out and figure out what this is. Initially, it was just a concept, but now I can see like where it's headed. So awesome, especially to the guys in the cohorts. It was so awesome to meet all of you, and I hope to meet and work with you in future. And I'll also like to say thanks to my mentor. I don't know if he's in the call today, Boniface. Cool thing is Kenyan, so we already had coffee, and I look forward to working with them together in future. Thank you. So that's it from me, unless there's a question.
Yeah, any questions or comments? You're getting a lot of love in the comments here.
Awesome.
There's a question in the doc about, are there museums that you're partnering with?
So it's still early days. I haven't started reaching out to most guys I'm planning to work with, but museums are part of the guys we're planning to reach out to. Especially there's a museum that just opened in Dakar, Senegal, about African Renaissance. So those are like more like guys who are aligned to what we plan to achieve. Yeah, so definitely museums are part of the guys on our horizon.
Yeah, that's great.
I like this comment that's coming in. I wonder if you could apply this idea to other regions, South America, Asia, etc. Is your process documented so someone can sort of take your idea and apply it somewhere else?
Yeah, like we're really documenting every step, and the plan is like we hope some other guys can replicate it elsewhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There are also other cool projects out there. I saw the European Union already had. They have a project that collects all the museums and all these cultural and arts artifacts, and they are linked in one open source platform. So I mean, there are other places out there to borrow from and build on.
Very cool. All right. Thanks for that. That's great. Okay, moving on next, we have MozGuna with Shubhendra.
Yeah, hi everyone. I did not attend the week 12 cohort call, so I'll be just telling you about my vision stand, my project MozGuna. What I plan to create as a leader in next 10 months. We are planning to spread more and more awareness about open source and Mozilla Foundation among the school and university students, and especially among the girls who want to participate in the tech. In the next month, we will also be establish a community which will be consisting of school and university students who will help in spreading open source awareness among more and more students by organizing workshops, hackathons, and meetups. The vision of what will be so if I'm successful in my work. If we will be successful in our work, then maximum number of schools and university students will start participating in open source and will also help in establishing a well-recognized community in this Guna region. Next one, what will be so in 5, 10, 20 years time? what is your overall big vision? In 5, 10, 20 years, the community which we will lay down in Guna should be recognized, and not only in this region, we will also have volunteers working throughout the country and promoting our mission of promoting open source among university and girl students. Moreover, in this time span, it is expected that more and more students in the Guna region will be taking part in open source activities, and students who are not aware of open source and Mozilla Foundation presently will be participating and volunteering in community events. Why it is important to me, and why is this not for you, for others? It is important to us because through this platform we will be able to create awareness among the students of the region who are not much known to open source and Mozilla Foundation. Through this opportunity, we will be able to lay a foundation of community in the region, which will be first ever in this region, as there were no tech community in this region before. So it is a great task and opportunity for us to achieve it. This community will help people get to know about open source and Mozilla Foundation. What are 2-3 key activities or critical points we should know about our vision? The critical points of our vision: first one, spreading awareness about open source and Mozilla, increasing participation, especially girl students, in open source activities, establishment of regional community in order to spread awareness about open source. What is the difference your vision will make for me and my community? When I relocated in this Guna region 3 years back to pursue my undergraduation, the biggest barrier I was facing was the lack of technical knowledge, and I didn't know how and whom to reach to get to know about it. I didn't know where to start. Most of the friends, those who were studying in the capital of India, they were taking part in technical communities, hackathons, and meetups. They were getting exposed to much more knowledge than I was getting, as I was just limited to traditional university education. So this is where I want to make a difference. I don't want others who come to this region in this future should feel left out. They will also have an opportunity to learn more about tech, open source, and Mozilla, equivalent to those who live in the central India. That was my vision. So I'm done.
Great.
And I would like to thank my mentor, Nikesh Balami. He guided me all the 14 weeks, and Mozilla Open Leadership to give me a platform to start this project.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have questions or comments they want to voice?
I wrote this in the doc, I can verbalize it. Really glad that you're working in your local community. I think that's amazing work. When you're reaching out to a specific group, I find it's best if someone from that group is helping. So I noticed you're reaching out to girls. Do you have any women helping you with this project?
Not yet. We are still looking for volunteers,
okay.
Especially girls who can help us out.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a comment in the doc also about possibly reaching out to other projects that are also working on improving digital literacy that might be able to help catalyze things, or might have some ideas that you could borrow. They point to the carpentries. There's a couple of different software and data carpentry groups that are trying to empower researchers and working with data in digital tools. But there might be some overlap there, or natural partners, it sounds like, with what you're trying to do.
Sorry?
It was just I just had a comment there, but it's in the notes as well. Anybody else? Comments or questions?
Brief one.
Yeah.
I think there's an UNESCO working group on media and information literacy. They also have a strategy paper, and a lot of governments declaring that they actually find media and information literacy important. So maybe it could be a way to, let's say, find some advocates on the government side by just looking who, let's say, actually signed this document. for some, I don't know, fundraising stuff or so. It could be useful to say, hey, look, officially you like this as well.
Yeah, and for digital literacy, specifically in India, there's Girl Script, but I don't know if they're in Ghana, so that might be interesting.
Yes, Girl Script, but in Guna region there is no technical community like this, so we are working on that.
Yeah, that's good. Cool, and you're getting lots of suggestions, so I hope you can reach out to some of these people. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. So we'll move on to our next one here in the list. And next is maximizing small female-led businesses and leadership potentials through technology. I'll let you take it away.
What we plan to do with the topic is to bring young women businesses together to leverage technology for the success of the business. We would like to create an app that can serve as some sort of database for these businesses to come together to discuss the challenges, the progress, and also get mentorship. And then it will also be an avenue to create, to make these businesses get exposed, prepare them to learn possible applications and usefulness of technology in running or scaling their business, and then also exposing them to how they can transform their businesses as the fourth industrial revolution takes place. So that's part of the vision stand. So the overarching vision is, at the end of the whole phase, is to churn out competent and result-oriented young women who would apply technology in their business to create sustainable economic development. And in the next 5 to 20 years, I foresee a society of women who would embrace technology in its entirety, thereby breaking barriers and stereotypes of technology being meant for only the men, as they say. The big vision also is to have over 10,000 women, at least, blazing the trail with their businesses while leveraging technology and also passing on the knowledge gained to the next woman. So far, we've been able to create an online community of 300 women businesses, and they get to learn digital skills. They get to have solutions for their businesses that may be very important to them. And this is important to me because I'm passionate about raising a generation of young women that can stand on their own to achieve their fullest potential. What's the need for me would be getting fulfillment that have added value to the lives of young women who would go out there and shatter the glass ceilings. What's the need for others would be that their businesses will be doing well and they can create job opportunities for other young women to tow their path. So the activities for this vision will be teaching or training on working open so that others who might be interested in their kind of business can get access to information on how they got to that point. The digital skills training also, so that gradually they can embrace the use of technology, and then marketing and business strategy coaching by applying open data techniques. The difference this vision will make for me will be that the community and the world is that more women will be making more impact and mindsets will be changed as to whether a woman can take on a particular role in business or even be able to handle the complex technological tasks or tools like the male folk. And then gender parity would have been achieved to a very large extent in the world of technology. So far, that is what I have in my presentation. And I'd like to say a very big thank you to Mozilla. Thank you to the team. You guys have been awesome. And I look forward to doing more of this in the near future. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any comments or questions they want to voice?
I'm blown away by this work. and everything that you're doing. Congratulations on having a baby during the program. That's amazing. And you're getting some suggestions. Yeah, congrats. You have a suggestion here to get in contact with Akira Chicks. I don't know who wrote that. But, oh, Eriol wrote that. That might be a good volunteer base.
Thank you. I'll look into that. Thank you.
And it's amazing that you already have 300 female entrepreneurs. So good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. All right. Thank you. That was great. It's very exciting. All right, next on our list is Engage with Teddy and Owen.
Right. Good morning, everyone. So Engage was basically born after we've identified some issue in transparency between local residents and local government. So oftentimes residents won't necessarily have time to go to town hall meeting. The website of local government is oftentimes not very accessible, not very clear. And so that causes some transparent issue between interaction between residents and local government. Oh, and I think you're muted still.
Okay, hi. So this is what we've got built so far. And the idea is that we want to build an easy feedback channel between residents of Santa Monica and the city council. And the first touch point that we're trying to improve for them is offering feedback on items that the city council is that are up for suggestion or consideration by the city council. So there is an existing feedback on the city's website. The city's website is a little difficult to navigate, and this information here is all kind of buried in a deep page in the website. And right now, the city just has a general email address where all feedback is sent to. And so before these public meetings, the city has to do a lot of administrative work to try and get all this feedback organized and disseminated to the city council members beforehand. So what we do is we take each of these individual agendas and we scrape them and display them on our site as these cards. And each of these cards is shareable and is the entry point for a feedback system. So all of this is scraped from the city website. Right now, there's nothing active that you can vote on. All these items are in the past, so the commenting is closed right now. But if we go to the how-to, I can kind of walk you through the steps a little bit. So basically, you could view an item and you'd be able to say, I approve or decline, actually it's pro-con now, or you need more info if what the city has provided is not clear. There's an opportunity to provide some optional demographic information, and then you submit your feedback and you have the option of verifying your identity as a human being by clicking a follow back in an email that we send to you. So we close that voting period at noon the day before the city council meeting and turn everything into a report and send it to the city clerk's office. We have a very small user group right now, about 17 residents in Santa Monica. But we are working with the city to try and develop something that they would want to sort of endorse and promote as their feedback system or feedback channel of choice. And once it becomes a successful model, to port it to different touch points between residents and city government, and hopefully to get other municipalities to pick up the project and mirror that interaction. So that's what's built.
Very cool. Any sorry, you're done, yeah? Yes, Stefan, you're okay. All right, any comments or questions to voice? There is a question in the document about how other cities can use this.
Yeah, I have one already. To actually widen the audience for it, do you have plans to integrate some social media like Twitter or something to announce this kind of meetings? Because I guess if they have such a crappy website, maybe the council will not be very active on Twitter, so it might be easier for people to follow these things.
You know, that's a good question. The city actually, even though their website is still in the 90s, they do have some pretty active social channels. And we have, for our Santa Monica version of this site, we do have a Twitter account and a Facebook account. And we're trying to use those as, once the city posts new agenda items, we don't have this set up yet, but we want to automatically tweet out that new items are ready for people to engage with. And yes, so yes.
Any other questions or comments?
Super cool tool. You're getting lots of comments on that. Super glad you're making it. More of a meta question on Santa Monica, I guess. How politically engaged is that audience now? And I guess you're trying to make them more engaged.
Well, I would say that Santa Monica is a very activist political community, and which makes it a cool test bed because it's not very large of a city. There's about 93,000 people there, but people are very passionate here. But the problem is that the people who interact with the city council and come to city council meetings on a regular basis are a small group of regulars, and so we're trying to expand that group into people who wouldn't, or can't come to city meetings or don't know about them or don't know about the agenda items.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, that sounds like a perfect place to test this. Cool.
Well, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next on our list is the U.S. forms system with Annie.
Hello, I'm just going to share my screen. All right. So the United States federal government has over 23,000 forms. And these forms are used to collect data and information, which is then used to provide essential benefits and services to the American people or to anyone who interacts with the US government. Because forms are often the first entry point into accessing critical benefits and services, they really become one of the primary interactions between people and government. And we can really see that in the next set of numbers. So there are so many forms in government, and it was estimated in 2015 that the American people spent 9.78 billion hours that year just filling out federal paperwork. If we measure this, if we quantify this in terms of money, and we assume that an hour of work is about $20, that 9.78 billion hours equates to $195.6 billion spent per year just on filling out forms. This number doesn't account for the amount of money and time spent in building the forms and managing them in the first place, nor processing the information once the forms have been submitted. So we can imagine this is hundreds of billions of dollars spent every year just on processing forms in the US government. So what if we can make this better, more efficient, and more cost effective? That's where our team comes in. We are the US Forms System, and we are trying to build a tool that will help governments rapidly build digital forms. Benefit of digital forms is that they can be smarter. So they can reduce the time it takes to fill them out by only showing you what's relevant to your particular situation. They can reduce the time it takes to process them by automatically transferring that information into a backend system that can then automatically process forms. They reduce errors by also automatically processing data and information, not having a human being transfer that information into a new system. And they just are a better user experience because you can access them from wherever you are on whatever device is convenient for you. Our tool uses best practices in user experience, data collection, web technology. We're using React on the front end, super exciting. And it's cool because it's an open source library being built within the federal government, which is kind of unique. So if you contribute to it, you're actually shaping the code that the US government uses to run, which is kind of cool. So here's a screenshot of what one of our forms looks like that's built with our tool. It's like pretty clean, modern UX, as you can see. And here's a link to our GitHub repo, so feel free to check it out and contribute. Thanks so much to Mozilla Open Leaders, to my mentor Luca, and to everyone in this cohort. It's been a really great experience. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Annie. Any questions or comments to voice? I was shocked by the number of forms. That's a crazy number.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Please, I hope this will be implemented in Germany as well. There, it might need a fax connection.
Yes, we see that too.
I'd like it in Spain too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I'm a dual citizen. I often have to fill like these random forms for the US government. So can't wait for this to be in play. You do have a comment. Have you looked at the GDS, the Government Digital Services, as a reference?
Yes, I have. So I work for the US government version of that, the US Digital Service, and we're often in communication with GDS. They were sort of the inspiration behind how our team got started, and their work is really inspiring too, so definitely.
I'm also very glad you're using React. Super fun. And it's like, oh, I can contribute to this. That's nice.
Yeah, it's not like a super old government software project. Yeah,
CGI script.
Trying to modernize things.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Cool. Thank you, Annie.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, next is I don't code at Shahidi with Eriol. Did I get that right? I hope I got that right.
You're muted, Eriol. You're not muted in Zoom, but we cannot hear you.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. Hey, technical problems, always great. Okay, right, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this correctly. I always struggle. Right, okay, cool. So many windows. Where's the present? Get out of the way. There we go. Right, okay, cool. So the work that I've been doing at Ushahidi around one of our tools, which is called the platform tool. So the project is about working more openly and encouraging contribution from international development workers, activists, volunteers, or basically the people that don't tend to code, or the people that don't want to code as well. So just in case you didn't know, Ushahidi builds a lot of humanitarian tech products. We have done for 10 years now, and one of the products is an open source crowdsourced data collection platform. So it's used in crisis response situations, it's used in historically in election violence, it's used to map sexual harassment, it's used to collect a lot of data from real people for a plethora of different reasons over the last 10 years. So from that background, we have a lot of really interesting challenges for a product that's been around for so long that aims to do such a varied amount of good in the world. So one of the ways that you can take a look at the different projects that we've supported over the 10 years and is a good background to what I'm trying to achieve with the Open Leaders project is actually the /donate page, which features a lot of our grassroots projects that we've supported over the years. So if you want to take a look at the people that have used the platform over the years, then that's a great place to take a look at all the different people. So the problem really is historically open source tech projects, they typically ask for contributions from developers to work on issues, to develop features and fix tech problems. And this essentially kind of tends to rely on those people that can know how to code or that have some kind of tech skills to engage with things like GitHub. But within this sector that we work in, the charity, activists, and humanitarian sector, there's actually a wealth of knowledge that helps inform those features and those issues and those tech products that we really strive to gather, that information to inform what we're actually building. So this was the challenge that I was looking at trying to solve with the Open Leaders project. How do we get more contributors that have real-world experience? These development workers, activists, and volunteers, they tend not to want to code and they're interested in the impact of the technology rather than the ins and outs of a tech project. So how do we facilitate that kind of contribution? And we know through the work that we've done, the developers and coders, when they know the direct impact of a feature's purpose, then they have a better sense of what they're actually contributing to. And we have a lot of issues within our repo that need help, that need fleshing out, that need more stories around it. So they typically are, even if you're technically minded, sometimes quite hard to parse. So we've got some stories that are quite in-depth, some user research that we've done lots into, but then we've got some which are like, we think that this will be useful for these kinds of people. So this is just an example of that. So the vision really for this project is that we want these people, these community development workers, activists, and volunteers to feel like they're contributing rather than being the subject of inquiry. So rather than interviewing them, asking their opinions, they're actively contributing and giving information over about the different issues that will impact the work that they do. Bridging this gap between these kinds of humanitarian workers and developers and encouraging that collaboration, and having humanitarian products that are informed by real-world experience and advice. Yeah, and the developers will know in greater detail who they're helping. So one of the, is some of my information on my screen covered up by the videos? I'm just gonna minimize that, there we go. So one of the main things I did within my project was actually go out and talk to a lot of our users to gather this way of being able to build how they contribute. So the crux of the problem that I was trying to solve is how can we best facilitate this contribution from people that work in the humanitarian sector. And Bristol Street Harassment is one of our users. You can take a look at the way that they've used our product at this link here. And I asked them lots of in-depth questions about issues that I picked out for them that I think that would be relevant for them. And I did a very quick prototype session of how I want this relationship, this contribution to happen, but in person. So this is one of the comments that I got from them about an issue about GPS tracking within location data. So they gave a tangible comment as to what they think their users would be able to use this for. So this is the kind of contribution that my project hopes to get within the issues that we've got in our repo. So lots of next steps, talking to more users, testing methods, doing 3 different talks at different kind of Tech for Good events, continue developing the support docs and guidelines, build that community and have a hackathon and do a paper or a report on the findings. This is the next organization that I'll speak to, Mapping Media Freedom, doing things to do with how to deliver the issue information via surveys or email lists instead of through GitHub, so it's a bit more user-friendly for people that don't code. So you get a weekly digest of different issues that are to do with your humanitarian work. yeah, and now, because I'm aware that I've probably gone over time, and what kind of help that I need. So contributions, if you have experience within any of these humanitarian sectors, so the comments that I'm looking for around the features that we develop, ideas for delivering issues through a non-coder user-friendly way for those I don't code people, and info and support and help in implementing that, the above, the non-coder user-friendly issue way. Yeah, that's me.
Cool, thank you. Any comments or questions to voice?
You have a lot written in your comment section.
You do.
Mostly a lot of love. Really good projects. Yeah, just thinking about how you're trying to focus on the non-coders, but your platform is on GitHub. Are you implementing any sort of like GitHub overviews to try to help people get oriented?
So I've definitely like linked to very introductory, this is how you would use GitHub, but actually what I'm piloting by doing the in-person breakdown of the issues is testing how people want to receive information about issues. And then the first thing that I'll test is like a survey function, like, and then like an email digest. And if those two things don't work, it will be back to the drawing board and gathering the information. But yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, cool.
I put a question in the comment section where I asked, great job, by the way. I wanted to know if Shahidi would want to partner with us, because I saw somewhere where you were talking that you guys give out grants. We're looking at young women who don't know how to code to be able to do this from the secondary schools. Since most of the programs we do are technologically driven, how can we partner together to see how we can make more impact? So that's my question.
Sure. So Shahidi does support a lot of different grassroots users over the 10 years that we've been around for. So we mostly provide support in terms of providing our software for free and the support to use that kind of their software in our platform. But if you want to have a more in-depth conversation and be connected up to some of our contacts within Nigeria, was it you said that you're working? I think it was. Then we can definitely have a conversation about that. Please get in contact with me and we'll see what we can do to help that happen.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right. All right. Thanks, Eriol. All right, and I think we're at our final project, which is Drip with Marie.
Hello, trying to share my screen. Is there anything? Yes. Hey, hey, my name is Marie. I'm based in Berlin, and I'm part of a software collective called Bloody Health, and we are 3 women building an open source period tracking app called Drip. So you may ask yourself, there's many period tracking apps out there, and what's the problem with all these apps, mostly commercial apps? So we figured out that there are 3 main problems that bother us. And first of all, it's most of them implement a sexist and gender stereotypical design, and their design choices so lacking diversity on many different levels. The second major problem is the privacy and security issues. And the lack of data protection. And keep in mind that we're talking about highly sensitive, intimate body data, information on sexual activity, mood, all this like very sensitive data that should probably better be kept private. And the third problem, the third main problem, is the inaccuracy of the fertility predictions that most of these apps give. That comes from like having black box algorithms, which are not transparent, and the user just doesn't know what the apps actually do with their data. So our approach to this open source period tracking app is it's non-commercial and transparent because it's open source. We're aiming for a gender neutral design. As you can see here, there are 3 screenshots of our app, how it looks like currently. And we're giving bleeding prediction when there's enough data. We're implementing a scientific method, the symptothermal method for fertility awareness. The app allows you to encrypt your data and it leaves it on your phone. So there is no synchronization, no server. And currently we're building, or like thanks also to the Mozilla Open Leadership Program, we started to create an open source community around the app, and we're looking for new contributors. We're onboarding them right now. And this is where you can find our code repository. So please feel free to ping me, ping us, and contribute. Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
Very cool. Thank you, Marie. Anybody have questions or comments to voice?
I like the first question that's written there. I didn't write it though. But how are you going about user education around data use and privacy? Oh, Elizabeth wrote that. Good question. You can voice it if you want.
I feel like it's been voiced, but I feel like we're dealing with similar issues as far as the astonishing amount of uneducation or knowledge around where your data goes and how much you're just giving it. So yeah, please talk about that.
So like currently we don't give the user any choice. Like the first version of the app is leaving it on your phone. That means that once it's downloaded, we don't have any access. We don't have any clue about how people are actually using the app. If it crashes, if like how they like it, whatever. But I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. Is it like you want to make sure that people like appreciate data privacy or?
Well, I see a lot of these apps as well as body scanning, and it seems like at least in the EU, people are just aware of their cookies after GDPR, and they hands down totally understand their cookies. But there seems to be a complete lack of knowledge around every single thing you enter, whether it's a calendar date or something being out there in the data universe. And we've had some people that don't care remotely and like look at us and just be like, can I take off my clothes here or do I need to go in the booth? And we're like, please, the booth. And then there's some people are like, I don't want anything to do with you. And then there's some people that have discussions with us for like 2 hours. And I feel like the most we get out of it is the discussion. So that's kind of what I'm asking is how is that kind of education or communication about the using the app, and how are you handling that?
So since currently we didn't release, we're still about to release a very first version of the app. So I guess we are not at that point where we already get feedback and like trigger like further discussions. I guess we did a little bit of user research, and we get a lot of feedback on people who are waiting for an app to be released because they're not using these commercial apps because of privacy issues. They're saying, I don't trust them, I don't use them, I need an app that kind of keeps my data private. So we want to be the ones who satisfy these needs. And of course, like as in like providing this alternative, we also want to like maybe trigger some further discussion in like Other would say like, why is my app keeping my data not private? Why is this app able to do it and others are not? But that's like, yeah, we're living in a Google, Facebook / time. So again, we cannot, yeah, it's too much pressure on like the individuals. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Let's keep in touch because maybe there'll be some crossover down the line as far as educational tools and tricks.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Yeah. I might just want to answer one of the comments because it's pretty explicit. So yes, I think we are like concerning the question about, I love this project. Have you considered adding in transition section, so people going through hormone therapy? I would love to say yes, but the first version will be like the target group will be people who want to use the symptothermal method. That means people who want to engage in fertility awareness. And I think it is fair to focus on one target group first, and then think of, in order to like not say we are an app that will satisfy everybody, but to be clear around also the limits, the limitations of the app. We have, I gathered a list of user groups who might not be happy or like who might not be like fully satisfied with our app, in order to like be at least transparent about it. I think hormone therapy would mean a lot of more extra research from the medical expertise, like medical side. And currently, I cannot take this responsibility because I'm not a medical, biologist, nothing like that. So yeah, but we are open source. We'd love to see forks on the project. Would love to see like triggering more open source period tracking apps. So we don't want to be the only one. Yeah. Thanks for the comment.
Cool. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness around how you're designing things and who you're supporting, and your transparency around it. So good job, Marie. And congrats on all your contributors.
Yeah.
The past 10 days. Is anyone on the call that wants to present but hasn't yet? I think we're good.
Yeah.
Cool. So we do have a new volunteer section at the very bottom. So if anyone's tuning into the stream and looking for a project to get involved in, and you didn't know specifically where you fit in, it's a good place to leave your name and what you're interested in. We'll put you in touch with someone from this call. And I think it's time for a cohort photo.
Hey, all right.
So if you want to be in the photo, unface mute. If you don't want to be in the photo, face mute. Jason, what should we do?
Let's see. We were McCohortFace, so we could like make a C.
A C? Wait, how does?
I don't know what direction that is.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that looks like a C. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, took a photo. Thanks, everyone. It was really inspiring to hear all your projects. Yeah, just every cohort call for this final one, it's like, oh, there's so much cool things. And this is the first round where we didn't do demos halfway through. We normally do. So I feel like it took so long for me to hear about all your projects. But I'm glad we did this demo at least. So thank you all so much. Huge congrats on graduating and finishing Open Leaders. You'll be getting certificates in your inbox probably next week or maybe later this week if I'm really on top of things. If you haven't filled out that final survey, I'm going to send one last reminder before I generate the certificates. Like, this is your last chance to get a certificate. So fill that out. If you don't want to get one more email from me, then find that first email I sent and fill it out. Anything else? Jason, I'll let you close us off.
I think so, yeah. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been awesome spending time with you these last 14 weeks. Yeah, I hope we can stay in touch. I'll keep track of a lot of your projects and see what you're doing here in the future. Thanks for letting me be the host on this call. I think it's been a lot of fun doing this. So thank you all. It was great to meet all of you.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
Forgot to say. OL7 is starting really soon. So normally we have more time in between these, but this week if you filled out your certificate of completion, I'll be reaching out about ways to get involved for this next round if you're interested. So that's coming soon if you want to stay in touch. Okay, that was all the things I wanted to say. All right, bye everyone.
All right, thanks everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.